Hi guys, I'm Danny, and I started a Sunday gym because I've noticed lately that people tend to go to colleges and universities without actually knowing why they're there. Afterwards, starting jobs that are unfulfilling. So I'm interviewing different professionals to see what they have to say and to share their experience and knowledge with you. I hope you enjoy it. Hello everybody, I have Evelina with me. Evie,
Hello,
welcome to the show. How are you doing?
I'm pretty fine. Today we have a sun, which is quite a surprise because the last days it was raining all day long.
I
So today
know.
I'm in the mood.
Well, spring is around the corner anyway.
Yeah, hopefully.
We are going to focus mostly on the three questions. What do you do for a living? How'd you get there? And have you experienced any setbacks at some point in time? And how'd you deal with them? So tell us what you do for a living.
Okay, so right now, I'm living here in Valencia, Spain. I moved 2 years ago, and currently I'm working in a Dutch company for printing products. I am in the supply chain department, placing orders, something like buyer, and have other responsibilities as well. I really enjoy it so far. I have very great colleagues, and the company is quite fresh, new, colorful, and yeah, I feel really good there. And for now, this is maybe mainly what I'm doing. Apart from that, I'm studying Spanish because for the last 2 years, it wasn't enough everything that I have studied. I need more and more and more. Started the Dutch classes as well because of the company. I'll have more opportunities if I got to know the language, of course.
When you grow,
And
right?
yeah, and apart from that, I'm enjoying here the Valencia's weather, climate, people. The life is totally different because I'm Bulgarian. I come from Sofia, Bulgaria, and the difference is enormous. And I'm so glad, no regrets for moving here, feeling happy, satisfied, and I'm on my way so far.
And how did you get to that position?
Well, that position, I got it quite difficult, to be honest, because I came to Spain right before the confinement due to the virus. So when I came, I just started living. I started looking for a job, and in a month and a half, I just got locked at home, like everybody, and I had to spend half of the year at home. Fortunately, I have two dogs, and I was allowed to go out and walk them, so it wasn't that harsh for me. But yet, like a newcomer to a new country, I didn't know anybody. I haven't spoken know the language, and it was quite difficult for moments. And I can really consider it this moment like one of the setbacks, like time when I didn't do so much. I started study to force myself to study the language, the Spanish one, but yet when you spend all the time at home on your own, it's you're motivated in the beginning. You're doing it on a daily basis. Really, you do sport, you study, you read, you do a lot of things. But after a month and something, you're just like your motivation is fading a little bit. So that that moment back then, few months, I consider them like one of maybe of the most important period of my life because I was able to concentrate on my inner world. I'm quite emotional person, and that were months when I was able to align myself very well and to understand to be more aware of my direction and if I'm right on it or I'm just getting a little bit far away from it. But fortunately, everything in the end was all these months were like a huge jump for me. My mindset, my motivation. I just came back with got myself together, and after everything with the restrictions were released, and I started again searching for a job, and I was like unbeatable, at least
I've
in
spoken
my
to a few
head.
people every now and then. They do have similar issues, and I found out that often people tend to find themselves, their inner core, their inner purpose, exactly in those moments of solitude, when you're a little bit away from the world, away from the noise, and when you're kind of like alone with yourself. And at that moment, things kind of snap and they are able to understand what's going on. Was that the
Yes,
case with you?
absolutely true. That was what happened to me, and when I realized that, because I had such moments in my life, even back in Bulgaria, but now I'm like totally sure that I really need this moment in my life, and once in a while, sometimes I even force like to have a forced setback for myself to keep myself away from the world, as you said, and to realign again with myself, with my own things, and then to come back again and start. So yeah, after that moment, I was like stronger, and everything started to fall into places, which was quite good and fortunate for me. And yeah, that's how step by step, one job, I try one job, then another, and now I am in this company where I'm feeling quite great. And
Excuse me. So, what kind of jobs did you do when you were there?
oh, that's really interesting. Well, the first job was in a franchise company for pizzas and kebabs, and I was a kitchen assistant, and I was preparing pizzas and kebabs. Then I started cleaning cars with ecological products
Right
right
on.
on the street. Yeah, that was really nice and very good idea, to be honest. Very good idea, and it has its future. I'm sure of that. And then it was just like trying one thing. Yeah, it works, but it's not exactly what I want now. Because when I was back in Bulgaria, I was imagining myself. When I come here to Spain, I would really love to find a job uh, in a company with English. Because to be honest, here in Spain, people don't speak English.
Yeah.
It's quite difficult. So I was imagining myself working in a company with English in office. Uh, and to be able to maintain my English language and then to study Spanish as I'm living here. So that was my initial idea, but as we all can see, it took me 2 years until I reached it. 2 years.
Have your education, both in high school and later on in university, helped you in any way on that journey? And if so, how did that happen?
Well, I'm a person who learns from everything, and to be honest, not only my education, but all my experience, life experience, and everything that I have done in my life previously, not only jobs, but relations with people and everything. I'm really a learner, and
Yes, but
also
I was mostly wondering about your academic education.
okay. So in the university, my degree is. Coach, ice skating coach. I studied mostly for sports, psychology, everything related to maintain the one sportsman. And all this helped me because as a sportsman, I can say definitely that the discipline, everything that you learn on the field, in my case, the ice rink, for example, how to strive, how to, when you fall, how to get up and to keep on going, to pursue what you want, and just to give yourself everything, to train so hard with, to do everything that you can in order in the competition, just to go to show and to do your best. So
That
these
competitive
are
spirit, but in a graceful way.
yeah, yeah, and this mindset always has helped me in my life with everything, with jobs, with because I have already started from zero, and I had many times that I have started even below zero, and then with that mindset that I have to train, I have to push myself, I have to learn, and I'm to be honest, I'm so insecure person in myself, and this is like weakness, but in my case I use it as strength because due to that insecurity I'm working double than usual the people do. So in the end I achieve, I can say, and I see it so far, I achieve more.
That's
So
fascinating.
yeah, it's really nice to find your weakness and to turn them into strengths and how to use them to play yourself and put it on the right path for
I
you.
couldn't agree more. And COVID away, I don't even want to talk about COVID because that's basically a story that it's applicable to everyone on the planet. But was there anything else that you kind of started on that journey and later on you found out that it wasn't for you? You just had to start it for various reasons. At some point, you understand that this wasn't your calling, that this wasn't something you'd want to do, and that you scratched it and focused on something else.
Well, no. In my case, as I said, I'm a learner, and even if with the things that I have started and in time apparently weren't the things that I want to go on with, uh, all this period that I have spent and gave to this, dedicated to this thing, for me is like a word for time, because we have, one day we have 24 hours, so many situations that you could learn from,
Absolutely.
so many moments that you could push yourself to overcome some inner battles that you have, and just for with the daily habits and with the daily life, So if you use these days and that time to grow, to develop yourself as personality, as I'm talking of weaknesses and strengths and everything, you cannot consider some period, even if it wasn't the right for you. You could take advantage of everything, and this advantage later on
That's
to
more
use
of
it.
a mental of a mental state, which I absolutely agree with. But my point was basically, have you ever started something just because it was available at the moment without actually wanting to do it or being focused at it? You said you were trained to be an ice skater. Now you don't just start like that, something like that. You have to feel it. This has to be in you. So I'm pretty sure there wasn't something you started out of nowhere. But was there any point in time when you decided to go with something just because it was there, not like you felt it? And if so, how were you able to feel that? Like, how did you figure that one out?
Well, speaking of for the last years, as I said, I started in the franchise of the pizzas and kebabs. This is something that really I didn't like. The kitchen is not something that I feeling related to, and I had to learn things that I have never done in my life. So it was something difficult for me, something that I didn't want. But when you set a goal, a life goal, and as it is in my case, and I have a plan regarding this goal, how to achieve it. So in that very moment, this job, for example, that I didn't want, I didn't like in the beginning, was part of this plan in order to use this job in order to get me where I want to go. So yeah, sometimes we have to do things that maybe are not in our hearts, and we're not feeling comfortable doing them. But if they help us to grow and to reach what we want, in the end, that's all that matters.
So here comes
So
this sport determination you were talking about.
yeah, well, yes, but it's maybe it sounds like mindset, but I am using it on a daily basis with everything. I put it in actions. It's not only talking, but I'm living this way.
Yeah.
This is how I do it, and yeah, this is one of the job that I didn't like and didn't want, but that was I was so desperate for a job as a foreigner in a foreign country. I needed the documents, I needed everything to be arranged for me, and that was the first job after almost an year unemployed here. So I just got it, and without thinking, I was like, yeah, I should start from somewhere.
Right
So
on.
yeah, that
And
was the
you're right
case.
about the kitchen, by the way. My career started when I was working in Subway, so I completely agree with that.
Yeah, and to be honest, I learned a lot of things, and one of the inner battles that I had to face were with this job, or in relations with my boss and everything. We had really kind of issues that we had to work on, and I learned a lot from them as well. So I'm grateful for that time.
That's pretty good. And the reason I'm asking all of those questions is because, excuse me, folks tend to go to universities and colleges without actually being aware of what they want, what they strive for. And they tend to go there just because it's that mentality that it's like mandatory to have a diploma, which it isn't. I mean, not that I'm against academia or anything. I'm just highlighting the fact that people need to understand what they want and to know themselves. Now, obviously, that wasn't exactly the case with you, because you tend to have that kind of strive for perfection due to sport activity and various other reasons. Why do you think is that mentality on hand to go to the university mentality? Why do you think that's something obvious?
Uh, just to clarify, if I understood you well, why people are in a way forced to go to the university and whatever happens just to get a diploma and pursue some career with based on the university
Yeah,
graduation or
I've
well,
noticed that not all at all, but most of them aren't exactly happy with the choices they made, and it's pretty obvious that those choices weren't really made by them, but they were directed to make those choices.
exactly, and
And
this is something.
because of that desire, it's not even a desire, because of that mentality to go to the university or the college and to get a degree and stuff like that, I noticed that there are more and more universities everywhere. And that's not even a European issue, it's everywhere. And it's a basic economical principle that if you have more quantity of specific good, the quality drops dramatically, which is the case. Why do you think that happens?
I think, to be honest, this topic that everything that you said is quite related to the things that I'm going to do with my life, because what you said, what you explained just is something that I'm against too. Um, in my case, I have a fortunate life. I had all the time to choose what I want to do, when I want to do it, how I want to do it.
But
So
how do
I've
you see
never, well, I never been forced. The first thing is that my parents never forced me to study this, to study that, to go here or there. This is the first thing. The second thing is that the pressure that usually society has over you, which is huge one, you should try maybe to go more individually with yourself and
absolutely?
to stand up for yourself, because if you let yourself be drowned under all the pressure and everything that people say, and yeah, it's obviously you just go to the high school, then graduate some nice university, get a secure job, and then retire, the perfect life. But there is quite more behind that.
Yeah,
And I do believe that each person should experiment, should experience a lot and a lot different things to get to know that person well, which was my case. I had a lot of jobs, so different. I did whatever I want, and that's how I ended up knowing who I am, what I want, what triggers me, what are my desires, what a life I want to have. Because this is the most important. Because when I'm 90 years old, for example, when I look back, I know what I want to see, what life I would like to have. So I'm living it right now, and I'm so happy. But this is earned. I have earned it like through a lot of experience, a lot of tough times, and overcoming all my fears. Because courage is something really important, and the most important thing aside is people to learn to start making decisions. This is something that world lack now, because
I
people are
agree.
afraid of making decisions. They're afraid of take the responsibility for their actions and to jump for it, and maybe they are afraid that they will fail, or they have insecurities as well. Everybody, we all have
Which
them.
that's actually understandable because, as you said, you were never forced. There were a lot of people who were, and because of that forcing, they didn't have the ability, neither the ability nor the time to know themselves. They didn't knew who
Yeah,
they were. They were told, which is never
yeah,
really a good idea. So
yeah.
that was a pretty good experience, a pretty good example that you gave. It's right on spot.
Yes, and to tell you that during my 20 years of 20, uh, family no, but all my friends, I had the pressure as well. I had the pressure from society, but I'm like, I'm rebelling since the beginning, so I just, every time I go with my own. I
Yeah,
don't listen to the people, and please, people, you have all your life, go with your life and leave me alone.
that's pretty good.
Yeah. This is something that's beneficial for me. In my case, it's quite beneficial, not listening to the others.
This is something that's beneficial for everyone. I'm a firm believer of the fact that it doesn't matter where you're from which continent or side of the planet. As long as you know yourself, you kind of have that way to see attitude and things are going.
It's true. It's true. But to be honest, it's hard with this mindset because you have a lot of problems everywhere you go. Every job you start, it's like when you have to follow somebody who maybe is not that in compliant with with
Problems
your.
are an inevitable part of life, so that shouldn't
Yeah.
really be a discussion. Eve, thank you for your time. Thank you for
Well,
participating in the interview. Wish you all the best.
thank you. Thank you
Uh,
very much.
Bye.
Bye.
Guys, I hope this one was useful. Please follow the channel on YouTube, Rumble, Gap, Twitter, Facebook, and LinkedIn. Ring the bell and all the good stuff. Have a nice week ahead, and I'll see you next Sunday.